Hey guys, so I'm going to show you really briefly how to reweight a baby that you might already have. Sorry about the lighting issue. I've had to turn the light on today because it's so dark here. But basically, Amelia is getting reweighted today. I've already taken off her head and done her a video about how to put a magnet inside her head, because that had to be done as well. But now I'm going to do her body, and I just thought I'd briefly, before I start talking about that, show you the types of things that you might find in your baby's body. I do not have glass beads, but they tend to be the best thing for weighting a baby because they're heavier than plastic, smoother, and they work really well. I'm currently getting some in stock, so these are the only things that I've got. In this bag here I have poly pellets, which are like the glass beads. I don't know if that's gonna focus, but obviously they're plastic. They weigh very little, and they work really well in the limbs of the baby. I wouldn't put them in the middle of the baby, they just don't weigh enough. You'd be using a lot to get some weight behind it. But there are quite a few artists that use them, at least over here, because they're very easy to source and very cheap too. So yeah, I've been using these for just the limbs, but I will be changing probably to glass beads all over. The other things that you can use are granules. Some people use sand. I haven't used sand yet, but I have used garnet granules with quite a lot of success. They are very heavy, and so I use them in the belly and in the head inside pantyhose stockings. They are very fine granules of garnet crushed down, and obviously because they're dark coloured you wouldn't want to put them in the limbs because they might show up through the vinyl. The other one you can use, and I started out using, are quartz granules. Exactly the same as the garnet, but they're actually bigger, as you can see, so they weigh less. Again, you have to use a lot more, whereas with the garnet you can use a lot less and get more weight. So Amelia, being one of my earlier babies, is weighted with poly pellets in her limbs, and she has the quartz granules in her head and in her body. And I'm just simply going to fill up her sack with the quartz today. Since I've got quite a lot of it left over, I want to use it up. And she has a big enough body to take it. So what we're going to do now is bring over her body, but I'm going to just quickly move this stuff. Now don't be offended when you see the fact that she has no head on. As you can see, her head is right there, and this is her body right now. Ooh. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take out everything that's inside of her body. I'm not worried about her limbs, like I said, I'm not touching them, it's just the body today. So what we need to do is lay her flat. Hold on one second. Just set that up. Can I see that? I'm just gonna get down there. And we're going to take out all of her polyfill that's in her body. If you've never seen the inside of the bodies before, generally that's what it should look like. You should see polyfill, you should see a sac. Generally lighter coloured. I just used a black pantyhose since she's mine. it doesn't matter too much inside the body, but definitely inside the head you only want to use light colours. Again, you don't want to stain anything. So that's her waiting sack in there. As you can see, with some colour, I've just wrapped this around it to sort of protect it. So I'm going to put that aside as well. I'm going to take out everything, so now she is completely flat. So you want to find this stuff in here. You don't want to find bits of rags or paper or something, and you certainly don't want to just open the body and find loose weights. Quite a lot of people have been shocked to find things like rocks inside their babies. It's just not a good look as an artist to send a baby with that kind of stuff in it to someone who's paid quite a lot of money. So these things here, don't be frightened by seeing them. They are simply the sockets that make her arm turn and lift. So you've taken everything out of the body now, so we're going to slip that aside. And it will seem so weird to do that to them, but you'll get used to it. And then obviously we've got our sack here, and you're going to need some sort of cup, and I should have had that prepared before I started. Just grab mine. I just use this plastic container here, and what I'm going to do is pull it out of the sack here and put it in here. You might need to get yourself a new sack if the artist has fully filled up the sack. You might have to add in a second one, and you might find yourself having to cut this to open it, but I'm confident I can get it undone. This might take me a little bit longer than snipping would. So there we go, got it. So you're just going to undo the sack, and you're going to want to put in the weighting of your choice that you've chosen to purchase or source. And you're going to, see, I've got my sack open, and you're going to want to wrap the sack entrance around your container like so. Just make sure you guys can see what I'm about to do. Yep. Okay. Oh. And then you're just going to take your weights and tip them in. I'm going to do this really awkwardly because I don't have these in a better container. But I want to fill it up quite a bit. You might only need to put in a little bit, or you might need to put in quite a bit, depending on what your baby's weighted with and how much you want to change their weight by. I'm gonna probably leave that there, and it's a good idea to test the weight, see if your sack is handling it. Mine is alright. So I'm going to try and get a bit more in there. Excuse the noise from behind there. Just got these little things that are in here. My quartz granules actually fell out, so that's why there's little bits of things that I'm pulling out into a container. But I would never use these on a client's order anyway. So I'm pretty happy with that being quite full. As you've seen, we've put that in there. And then what we want to do is make sure we can move the sack. I mean, it looks ridiculous right now. So what we're going to do is just tie that end up. Don't tie right to the base. You want to have the ability to make this a sort of like a sausage or a long shape inside the baby. So I'm just going to leave some tight space and then tie my knot at the top. And I like to double knot, as you saw. There we go. Right, take it out of your container. Make sure you put the lid on your quartz or on your weights if it's in a container. And move that away from the area you don't want to cause anything to fill. But as you can see, that is quite a shape. So that's going to be fine for her, and what I'm going to do now is stick it back into this. I mean, most people would have a different, like I would generally have enough to fold back on myself, but like I said, I just kind of put this together. So that's what we've got now, and now we're going to shift that to the side. We're going to grab Amelia's body back and make sure that you've got it up the right way, so her back is flat to the table and she's spread out nice and accessibly. Okay, and we're going to grab some polyfill and we're going to put that down into her crotch area, just a little. And I like to leave it towards the back so my hand is on top, and press that down a little bit. You might want to grab just a little bit more and brace that bottom. And then we're going to grab our sack and slide it in. You might find that you'll actually have less room, so you won't need as much polyfill in there, which will be the case with Amelia. She was actually overstuffed. So, and now we're going to just grab our polyfill. Actually, no, I'm going to be a pain, and you might find yourself doing this as well, but you might want to put it all on the bottom because that was actually really difficult to get in. So just going to line the bottom. There we go, that's much better. And then we're going to take her sack, make sure it stays in its oblong shape, and press it in there while not bunching up anything. And it's just a little bit of a play, really. You have to shift things around and all that. So now we're going to just stick polyfill around. I like to do the sides before I do the top. I find it a lot easier to make sure that the back and the sides are well supported before I start making them fatter. So now that those are done, I'm just going to put some on top and remove that container that's bothering me. Just gently. You can refresh your polyfill because after a while it does get bunched up, just like your pillows do, especially when they're a baby that's on display. Everything slumps, especially when you're holding them as well. So now we're at that point where I feel like she is pretty stuffed. So I'm going to set her up, face you guys so you guys can see her. There we go. So she's now sitting out and she's looking quite plump. I want her to be able to sort of move at the neck a bit more, so I don't want to stuff her right to the top or anything like that. I might just put a little bit just on top, but very thinly, because we haven't actually put the cable tie back in. And you're going to want to make sure that you've got So you're going to want to make sure you've got your cable ties handy. I've picked up this packet of 100 from Tinkerbell Creations off of eBay. They were really well priced. And I used the 14-inch ones. You can also get them at Bountiful Baby or most Reborning supply stores. And you're going to put the cable tie in the body. You might get to this join here if it's got a join, where you might have to just shift it through. It's not very difficult to do. And as you can see, cable ties in. And I'm going to thread it through, but don't do it up too tight yet, because you want to make sure that the baby's head can go on. And so at this point you would test how the baby's head sits. I'm just going to put her head in there like so. I'm not going to pull that closed, but you can see that she's got a little bit more room up here in her neck, which is good. She was too stuffed before. You can pick them up and have a wee play at how heavy they feel. Yeah, it's all up to how you want them to look and feel. I'm going to probably test her head a little bit now, so I will pull that tighter. Don't do it too tight, because you don't want to waste your cable tie. You want to be able to just slip the head off gently. So I've done that, so her head's just sitting in there, and I'm going to put her against my arm. I'm quite happy with how she weighs now and how she folds in the middle. I'm quite happy with that. And I'm just going to test her head by seeing if it's going to flop back or can move forward. See, you want to be able to move her head forward and see how she flops back. That's because she's loose, but I think that's pretty good. I don't think I'll need to put any weights on her head. So I'm going to tighten that. I like to leave just a little bit of room in the neck, for not only for movement of style, but if I need to pull out her head really quickly I can, and then put it back in without having to get another cable tie. So that's it from me. I'm now going to just cut that off and thread that back through. She does have a belly plate, and I'm not too sure if I'm going to put that back on. I had it on her this whole time because I really liked the effect that it left on her clothing, but it made her very hard to hold. So I'm just going to see how I go without it on. Thank you very much for watching my video of putting a magnet in her head and reweighting Amelia. Please follow us on Instagram for more updates of my babies, and check back here often. Thanks, bye.